An author died, which happens every day. Um, um, when he died, though, the first I got to know of it was someone said goodbye to this author, and I was like, oh, somebody else has DNF'd his book because the book in question. I'm not going to mention the author because that's just tasteless, even on a private channel. Um, is it was yeah, my first thought was like, oh, here's somebody else who hates the novel, but no, actually it turns out the guy has died, and as the guy has died, like, probably he's a couple of years older than couple of years older than I am, um which, you know, obviously it chastised me a little bit, just because it's like, oh, hate reading is a thing, even though I love books and I really enjoy reading and I enjoy getting into books. I also, I guess the other side of that is a kind of a, is you can get that passionate dislike of books, which isn't to say that I'm not one of those assholes who's like, I'm going to go and attack the author personally for not liking their book. I didn't like the book and I have my reasons for it. I will list those reasons, but I'm not going to like attack the author personally. These are, um, speaking like of Jonathan Safran Foer, a guy who is alive. He's alive while I'm making this video. I do not like his extremely loud and extremely close. That the book that I really dislike so much, I don't even remember the title properly. I really didn't like that book. I didn't like the little boy who is at the center of it. I found him very mawkish and just a kind of infantilization of of that situation. It seemed like all the worst things of like how we in the West can look at something from such a personal point of view, not considering the wider having a mature view of it. You literally have a child's view at the center of this book, to sentimentalize things. That's my opinion on that book. Um, I've, other books, Eating Animals. Is it Eating Animals? I think it is. I actually thought was like, oh, okay, this is an interesting book, kind of arguing, at least for, you know, arguing for vegetarianism, at the very least, showing, giving a good critique of the factory system that we use in North America for raising animals and the horrible things that we do to animals that will surely come back to kill us all, if or not, um, or a good hunk of us if it's not done. But yeah, it's just that thing of like, because I did find myself, I went to the guy's thing on Goodreads and I looked at the negative reviews for the books, and like, oh, it was like, the book that I just really disliked. Well, it then the books after that were all, how they fell off sharply, like how everybody read the first book, then very few people, a lot less, read the second and third, which is really, and for most series, that's the thing, especially for super mega bestsellers. There's only going to be a certain number of people who are going to continue on with your book. A lot of, especially when it's a super mega bestseller, a lot of people that wouldn't have gotten to you get to you, and quite reasonably find that they're not for you. I was not for this fellow. Um, but I guess, yeah, it's the dark side of being a lover of books is also being a hater of books. If I'm gonna be passionate about novels, I'm going to be passionate about novels in both ways. I'm going to really love some books and triumph and trumpet them, and there's other books that I am really going to go on and on about. I'm sure, thank goodness that Jonathan Safran Foer doesn't watch my videos, because he'd be kind of probably rather tired of me just banging on about how much I use his book as an example of a book I hated. Eat it. Um, I hate skim to the end of that book just to like, to make sure that it was awful as I thought it was. Um, which, I mean, is an accomplishment in itself. Well, it would have been more of an accomplishment if you'd made me closely read it all the way to the end. This was more of a hate skim, so I can't even give him that much. But it did engage me. It engaged me in a particular way. I've had other books like that where I'm just like, wow, this book pushes my buttons in every single way, and that in itself is is an accomplishment. There's probably 95% of books out there that are like, oh, it was okay, and then I forget about it. But man, you write a book that I hate and that I still remember and I'm still ranting about. You've had an impact on me. So the fellow who I'm not mentioning at the moment, I really disliked your book, and it really did have an effect on me in that I can still remember it. So hats off to you, and condolences to your family. You were an author, and you did your job. You got me going, and that's pretty awesome.